We got notes. Need my coffee. Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. Hope you guys are truly having a phenomenal weekend. We are still on the road, and as you guys all know from last week, we were in Savannah, down on the Savannah River. We were headed to my daughter's. Paige and I are so excited. Tessa turned 25 last weekend, and she is just getting ready to have our first grandchild, a grandson from her and Hunter. But she hasn't had it yet. We are waiting patiently. Well, I don't know about patiently. I don't think Whimsy is waiting patiently. She's wanting to hold that baby and put her in her hands. So we are excited. Hey, we have some sponsors this week. First and foremost, the First Gig Summit. Larry and Taylor Thompson is putting this on the first or second week of September. Look, you can go to Larry and Taylor Thompson over here on Facebook. You'll be able to see all that info. No, I am not a part of the mastermind, part of what they're doing over there. A lot of people have said, Troy, are you part of this? Here's where I'm a part of it. I truly believe in the gig economy. I believe that you have to have a side hustle. Larry Thompson has been a distant mentor over the last 12 months, has become a personal mentor. I truly believe what they're doing. I think it's going to be a great deal. The DS Edge, the Direct Selling Edge Educational Conference, coming up the second week, I believe, or third week of October. Just go to dsedge.com. People laugh at me because I speak at that event. I'm there with Jay Leisner, Kevin Thompson, Kevin Grimes. There's so many speakers over there. I can't even list them all, to be quite honest. And people will say, Troy, don't you actually know when it is? I do by the time I get there because we'll have it on the calendar. But listen, if you're starting a business, if you've plateaued your business, the DS Edge would be a great place for you to go check that out. And number 3 this week, Maple Street Biscuit Company. I'm excited. I just got word from that company that's starting in September. We will be doing Breakfast with Troy live. It will be an online television show and podcast. And we'll be doing it live from the actual restaurant on the Emerald Coast down there in Miramar Beach. So we're excited about where that's going. Look, there's some great times out there. If you guys are looking for side hustles, you're looking for something in the gig economy, phenomenal. Matter of fact, you can go... there's a magazine I just picked up. They got a great Facebook page. It's called The New Pioneer. It's a great magazine. Living off the grid, homesteading, stuff like that. And they've got a section in there that I was reading about the different side hustles that you can do from home. Some of them have residual income. Some of them are something you and your family can do. We're talking about top-notch stuff. Did you know? Here's a great one. If you're looking to switch careers, you're looking for something to do in your part-time. Maybe you're excited about where you're at. Maybe you're a CPA or an attorney or something. You really love that, but you want to do a side hustle. Do you know you can actually do medical billing straight from home? Totally a side hustle. And I've got a good friend of mine, Dr. Malega, owns the Malega Eye Care. They do a lot of side hustle stuff. A lot of the people that they hire that does their billing and stuff is like that. So it's just some great stuff to look at. Hey, I want to talk about a company. I'm not affiliated with this company whatsoever. Their CEO and co-founder, Ron Williams, and I have got a long relationship, but it's Euphoria. And they're doing something here. And look, we don't talk about individual companies a lot, but when I do, it's because I'm not attached to them whatsoever. And in this case here, this is good. Euphoria has gone on a year-long soft launch. And when I started looking at how they were doing their business model, I thought, this is probably wise and smart that if you're in a startup business, that you guys all start looking at this. Because instead of just trying to jump out of the gate, instead of trying to just jam it all down, this is a company that, first of all, they're really on some cutting edge DNA type of stuff that I don't totally understand. But they're just taking their time building this thing out. And I think that a lot of companies in the network marketing arena, in the gig economy, what tries to happen is everybody wants to jump. They want to be able to pump this thing in 90 days. As I started looking at some of the new companies out there launching, some of them have taken 6 months, 9 months. Now this Euphoria is taking 12 months before they come out of a a soft launch, pre-launch stage. I just think that's wise business. I think if you're in the middle of it right now, you guys might want to think of that. Maybe you even want to do it if you're looking about launching a new product. Maybe instead of just pumping products into the market, you don't do a lot of the research, you don't do the due diligence, you don't know how the ingredients are really going to work. Maybe we ought to slow down and just kind of take time on some of this stuff. That's just the way I see it, on that. Hey, I mentioned at the top of the show about the new podcast. We're excited about where that's going. That's going to blend in with the sites. Somebody said, Troy, did the sites go live? No. We got with this baby and being on the road, we're a little bit behind on that. I was talking with Mel Atwood about that earlier this week. So it's just a little slower than what we anticipated, but that's okay. When we do launch, I think you guys are going to like the content. We've got some great folks that have teamed up with us who are going to be writing articles on side hustles, the gig economy, accountability, compliance. And these are experts. That's one thing that I said I wanted to do this time. When we launch this site, because we're not looking at it to be the income creator, obviously with advertisings and sponsors and stuff are going to be there, but the articles that are going to be written are going to be articles written based on wisdom journalism. We're going to be looking at companies, we're going to be looking at products, we're going to be looking at topics that surround the whole gig economy. Got a great company up in, I believe it was South Dakota, Rada Cutlery. They've got a one-level affiliate program, but their cutlery is U.S. made. It is made by some of the indigenous tribes that are up there. It's a phenomenal story all in and of itself. Those are the type of stories that we're going to get out, is what's happening. And it's not just going to be in the United States. So let me clarify that. Obviously, I'm a proud American, but I've got so many great friends in Australia, Great Britain, over in the Mideast. We've got, across the board, and we're going to bring these stories in, because part about being a patriot in your country, being somebody that's proud of where they live, is to get those stories out there. Let people know what's happening in these countries, what type of companies are there that are in the side hustles, in the gig economy, and we want to get that out the door. Hey, I want to look at something here real quick. Actually, no, I'm gonna brag about my wife for a minute. We put a post up on this earlier, but it's so fun because when we talk about side hustles, a lot of times all people think about is hey, this is just network marketing, or this is just door to door, or this is just a small hobby type deal. And I remember when Paige and I got married, just celebrated our 32nd, we're going into our 33rd year of marriage. I remember one of her biggest dreams was to be an author, a published author. And back then, guys, we were on typewriters and word processors. There wasn't an Amazon. There wasn't any of this self-publishing stuff that was out there, at least not like we see it today. So I remember her hand typing the manuscript, going through, if you guys ever remember typewriters, she had to go back, correct stuff, go through it, read it, then go back and find the specific page sometimes where there was an issue, rewrite that whole page. It was a crazy time. But that was around 1987, 88 maybe, when we got married in 87, but she really started that passion. And the year Tessa was born, which was 25 years ago, the 28th of July, okay, Paige's first book was published. She'd sent her manuscript in, and they sent her back a check. And today she's literally an author for two of the largest publishing houses. One is in the faith-based, the other one's Harlequin Romance. Her books are all over Amazon. And here's why I'm bringing this up. Obviously because I'm proud of her, but because this was a side hustle. This has been something she's done, and now 20 plus books later, 4 bestsellers, it's still the side hustle. Last couple of 3 years, she literally has dedicated herself to raising our youngest kids and a lot of our grandkids that just come and hang out. So when you look at what your dream is, what your passion is, don't let anybody stop you from saying, hey, you can do that. That can be your side hustle. It may, like for her, turn into a full-time career that just has that residual coming back. I mean, it's fun because she just the other day, she said, I'm still getting checks. And now some of those books have come back to her. She has complete rights. She's going in and just like anyone that's a craftsman or a craftswoman, I don't know how to be politically correct on that. Anybody that's excellent at what they do, They continually practice till they can't get it wrong. And today she's going in and redoing some of those books, republishing them under her publishing house and putting them out on Amazon. She's working with some other people. You've got to be able to build your side hustle. And I rabbit trailed into that for a minute, but it's because as she and I have been going back through, and yesterday we were at this bookstore where one of her books were, and then the little girls were like, oh my gosh, that's Mom's picture in the book. That's Mom's picture. That's our name. Oh, buy that, buy that. They were so ecstatic, because it's one thing to know your mom's an author. It's one thing to walk into a public bookstore, pull her book off the shelf. It becomes that reality. And you can have that reality. Why just do something on the side for a little bit? Why put your dreams aside? Build on that. Push that forward. Hey, I want to look at some stuff on the FTC. We're starting to see a little bit of increase in some activity in an area. People are still confused about what an endorsement is. What is it? Why can't I talk about my products? Why can't I talk about my own story? And you can. There's nothing wrong with that if it's done within the guidelines that are there. If you're an affiliate marketer, if you own your own business, if you are a statutory non-employee for a direct selling company, whatever the case is, if you're going to be putting stuff up in social media, on your blog, in your Facebook, listen closely to this. If you're going to say something in a private group, a secret group, in a message that's quote unquote private message inside of a chat, inside of a WhatsApp or Telegram or Facebook Messenger, listen closely. You need to understand that if you're making money, if you're intending to make money, if you're any way, shape, or form attached to that company outside of just being a customer who bought the product, then you definitely have to disclose certain things like, hey, I'm probably going to make money off this if you buy it. Hey, you know what? The company may put my name up on, I may walk across stage. You have to be so blatant so that there's never any confusion. And we're still seeing where people are not making that clear. And if you're in the space, you're probably thinking, because I did this, okay, doesn't everybody know that's why I'm putting this stuff up? Doesn't everybody know I'm going to make money? Sure, it probably helped you out. Sure, you're excited about it. But in a lot of cases, that's not true. I'm literally going through some cases right now where we're seeing where some top income earners and different side gigs, different companies, some of them are network marketing, some of them are not. They've never used their products. They've got them in their house, but that wasn't why they joined the business. And in the internet marketing arena, in the affiliate marketing arena, this is truly a lot of times just the business model. They see the opportunity to earn extra money based on the bell curve of a trend or a fad that's going through. And all they care about is, let me use my talent to go out there and push that product. And that's why you have to endorse this. You have to make sure that you're following the endorsement guidelines put down by the FTC. If you don't know where those are at, send me a private message. I'll be more than happy to give you the link to that. I'm on the road today, so we may get a link up in here. Some of the others that watch this, a lot of my compliance and accountability partners, they may go ahead and put the link up in the comments, so look for that. But we definitely, if you send me a private message, I'll get back to that. But I want you guys protected. A lot of times people will say, Troy, they're just after the companies. They won't come after me. Not true. Okay, we're seeing this. Matter of fact, both in the Herbalife and specifically in the Vima situation. Vima fought hard, BK fought hard, he won. But Tom Alkazam, who is classified the #1 rep in that company, also got hit by the FTC in the tunes of millions and millions of dollars, had to sell their dream home to be able to cover those fines. It's not what you want. And the list just goes on and on from there. Brett Redenbach, a good friend of mine, same thing happened to him. You have to make sure that you're taking this seriously. Regulations can be a pain in the butt. Regulators can overreach. We all know that. But at the end of the day, protect yourself. Isn't it? Look at it this way. What do you have to lose? If you tell somebody, hey man, I want you to join my business, but seriously, you probably aren't going to have the work ethic to go out there and make $100 million. If you work at this a little bit as a hobby, maybe you'll make $100. Maybe you won't make anything at all, but the products are great. I'd rather see you guys be that bold at giving the critical side than to go out there and hype the doggone thing up and end up with your butt in jail, okay? There's no reason for that. I've had some people ask me about the critics. Troy, are critics really important? Do we need critics? The answer is yes to that. I don't care if it's Truth in Advertising, Behind MLM, if it's MLM Insider, Ethan Vanderbilt, I don't care who it is. At the end of the day, we need those critics. George Dorn, who's an administrator over at realscam.com, him and I over the years have had some interesting conversations. And the more I dig into the personalities that are here, from Bonnie and her crew at Truth in Advertising, to whoever the heck that is that runs Behind MLM, to Corey Augustine over at MLM Insider, doesn't matter who it is. There's always an ounce of truth in the criticism that's out there. And if we will start to learn to dig beyond our emotional, we're pissed off, our emotions of, hey, that's my company. If we will start digging deeper into saying, okay, what are some of the facts that we can agree on? Then you start to realize, you know what? We do act that way. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is true. We shouldn't say that, or we shouldn't do this. Look, don't negate critics. Now, dull, negative, disillusioned crybabies, I'm not too worried about. But if there's a legitimate critical conversation, and Truth in Advertising has the ear of the SEC and the FTC, I think if they're putting something out on any company, people ought to pay attention a little bit on that. But I mean, there's some real good stuff, and I'm gonna segue. Corey Augustine put some stuff up this week on HGH and a company or two that's in the middle of this. And when you actually read his article, forget the company. When you read the article and you start looking at the ingredient mix and you start looking at, hey, HGH, it's basically synthetic. It can only be created inside the body. So anything that you take that has HGH, I don't care where it comes from. It can be from GNC, the vitamin shop, wherever it is. You've got to look at that and say, okay, this is a synthetic type deal. I need to look at how that's going to affect me. How's that going to affect all the other stuff that I'm taking? I'm not negating it, although there is a certain company out there suing their reps, and that's about the most asinine thing I can think of. Okay, there is no, I'm gonna rabbit trail because this really does get into, it just irritates me. Companies are so, well, it isn't even the companies. Let's bring this right down. The founders and the executive teams of companies, 9 out of 10 times, I think I could be that bold, let their emotions and their egos do some of the most ignorant things under the sun. And suing reps for whatever the reason is, suing a competitor most of the time, no matter what the reason is just downright stupid. Because as soon as you get into lawsuits, let's go back to the critics for a minute, they're going to grab that and they're going to blast it all over the place. You're going to have regulators looking at it. We can go back to the Advocare situation a month or so ago. Just this month, they finally cut all that stuff out. Just them being in some kind of a class action wrongful termination suit open the door to regulators and open the door to Truth in Advertising. It just opens it. Lawsuits do one thing. They keep attorneys in business. They keep journalists writing stories. So no matter what it is, man, and I know I've rabbit trailed on that, but it just pisses me off when I see companies suing each other or reps suing each other or companies and reps. There's no reason for that. If you want to protect yourself, then do this. Find the one thing that you guys can agree on and give it 100%. I think over the last 4 years, we have settled outside of a courtroom close to between $20 and $35 million worth of settlements. Either companies and reps, companies and companies. Look, there's a better way of doing it than ending up in a courtroom. Okay, right now I'm going to fly to California in a couple of weeks. Similar situation, only it's between individuals. And there's just, gosh, guys, if you can figure out a way to fix it fix it outside of a courtroom. I want to look at CBD for a minute. You guys know I'm an advocate, I'm a proponent, have lots of stock in some of the companies. Was there at the ground floor when Canaway launched, there at the ground floor when Isodile launched. I've got clients now that have CBD products. This week, it looks like the FDA and the DSA teamed up to go against companies that are in the direct selling space. Now here, we're still digging in this, but this is what I've looked at so far. The DSA has said, look, it's a violation of our code of ethics. Kevin Thompson this week wrote a great article on this. Anybody that's in the direct sales space that sells CBD, it's going to violate the code of ethics, which means basically that they could maybe fine you, suspend you, kick you out of the DSA, Direct Sellers Association. But when I went through and I started looking at all the companies that are selling CBD products, it's amazing that I haven't found one yet that has a flagship product that's a member of the DSA. So at the end of the day, it's just the DSA's way, I believe, of trying to protect themselves. They've gotten Herbalife got hit, Vima got hit, Advocare quit. So now they're saying, well, okay, if you're in the CBD business, then we don't want the FTC coming and looking at what, or not the FTC, the FDA looking at what our stuff is. So it's just a violation. The DSA is just not what it used to be. I guess that's what we can just say right there. They're just not what they used to be. Because used to, they really took a bold stance, not just on the MLM companies. They took a bold stance on direct sales all the way across the board. They took a bold stance on, hey, what's going on? And in a good company, I want to go back to Amway for a second. I think it was 1996, 1997, when China totally shut down all direct sales. Amway didn't pull out of China and just leave like most companies did. They actually went to the government and said, hey, can we figure this out? Can we help you build out a plan that would make sense in your country, in your culture? And it seems to me the DSA ought to be doing the same thing. They should be going to the FDA. They should be going to the FTC and truly not just being whiners. Oh, please don't mess with our member companies. They should be up there saying, look, we want to dig in here and find that common ground where everybody feels protected. Everybody feels safe. That's the key here. The FDA has made it very clear. Look, man, people are selling all kinds of edibles. They're selling all this stuff. We're behind the 8 ball. We're trying to figure out, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. I can tell you that my favorite president in history, Ronald Reagan, cut the funding of the FDA so much that really all this crap started after that because they just don't have all the funds they need. So what happened is Big Pharma and some of these other companies underwrite some of this stuff, and the next thing you know, the gig economy selling CBD products or whatever else is out the window. And it does get on me, not because of the CBD. I definitely think that there's an issue when it comes to the marketing of CBD, so that's not a problem. I've said that from day one. A lot of these companies, a lot of the people that are in the business right now, they just let claims go like crazy. Nobody cares. They're just, look, if you cut your arm off and you pour CBD oil on it, it will grow back as long as you put some sunshine on it. That's how bad some of this crap is. And yet CBD can really help in some areas if people use it correctly, if it's the real stuff. So I do understand where regulators are coming from, but I think the DSA here just made a stupid move, because when you look at it, the majority of the companies, if not all the companies in the direct selling space, which they're the big organization, they're not members of the DSA. So if the DSA leadership is watching this, I would challenge you guys to go do something positive, not just put out a doggone memo that says, oh, well, it's illegal, so you're violating our ethics. Because it may be illegal at a federal level, but the individual states, and we have 50 of those, they really control things of what's going on. This whole concept that it's the big government, it's Washington, that is not right. Washington comes into play with the states. They need to protect the rights of citizens. I got no problem with that. but it's the individual legislatures taking care of their constituents in their state that should be the ones ruling on this. And the DSA should think this one through right here. That's the only way to make this work. Guys, I don't want to keep you long. We've been jamming this thing out. I want y'all to have a great weekend. But listen, if you're in a side gig, if you're doing a side hustle, you're doing something like that, truly understand what your responsibilities are. Because at the end of the day, it truly is your responsibility. You can't blame the company. You can't blame a lack of understanding. You need to be a student of your company, a student of the products you're selling. You need to be a student of what's right and what's wrong, what's legal and illegal. Sometimes those are two different things. But if you're building your brand, you're marketing people's products, then you need to make sure that you understand what it is you're doing. I don't care what type of internet marketing, social marketing, network marketing, I don't care what you call it. If you're in business for yourself trying to earn an extra buck, then you need to do it right. Otherwise, just get out of the business. Go find something else to do. And it's not a negative. I'd rather you do it right than hurt everybody else. That's the name of the game. Guys, listen, stay humble, stay strong, and if you're in a home-based business, act like it.